Okay, 12.2, arithmetic sequences in series. So arithmetic means it's a sequence, pattern of numbers, with a common ratio. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Not common ratio, common, oh my gosh, difference. Wow, good job, Miss B. Which means I'm either plussing or minusing to get to my next term. Either adding or subtracting. So here's my official formula that I want to use. That A1, that means it's my first term. That D, that's my common difference. And N, that's my variable. And I don't do anything to my variable, it just stays as N. So if I want to write the rule to this thing, I need two things. I need my first term and my common difference. So if I look here, my first term of this thing is 7. My common difference, what am I adding each time? I'm adding 3 to get to the next number. So now I just plug those into here. So I have AN equals my first term, 7 plus n minus 1 times 3. I'm going to do some simplifying, so I'm going to distribute these. So I have 7 plus 3n minus 3. So my formula is 3n, then 7 minus 3 is plus 4. And that would be my formula. Let's keep going. Write a rule for the nth term. That means write a rule that'll let you find any term you want. So I need two things. I need my first term and my common difference. This one, my first term is 5. I'm adding 3 each time again. So then I go to my formula. AN equals my first term plus n minus 1 times my common difference. Do some distributing. So my formula is 3n plus 2. This one's different because I'm subtracting each time. So my first term is 60. My common difference is negative 8. Make sure you put a negative on there because I'm subtracting each time. So when I go to write my formula, AN equals 60 plus n minus 1 times negative 8. So now I do some distributing. 60 minus 8n plus 8. So my official formula is negative 8n plus 68. Beautiful. Okay, same concept. We're just having it in words instead of numbers. So one term of arithmetic sequence is 4. My fourth term is 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4. My fourth term is 20. My common difference is 3. Write a rule. So usually my common difference, I add 3 to get to the next one. So if I need to go backwards to get my first term, I subtract 3. 17, 14, 11. And I had to do that to get my first term because now when I write my formula, I do my first term plus n minus 1 times my common difference. Do some distributing. 11 plus 3n minus 3. So my official formula is 8 plus 3n. Just like that. Okay, so that was writing a rule, writing a formula. Now we're going to talk about series. So arithmetic series is a sum. I'm adding all that stuff together. The formula for finding a sum of one of these things, that n value, is my number of terms that I want to add up. A1, that's my first term, and AN is my last term. So those are 3 things you need. So 3 things for this. I need my number of terms I'm adding up, my first term, and my last term. My number of terms, if I'm going from 1 to 20, I'm adding up 20 terms. Adding up 20 terms. My first term starts at 1. So if I plug in 1 into here, 5 plus 3, and I get 8. My last term is on top is 20. So if I plug in 20, 5 times 20 is 100, plus 3 is 103. Now I have those three things. I can plug them into this formula. So number of terms divided by 2, my first term plus my last term. So this is really 10 times 111. So my sum is 1110. Let's do another one. Here, how many terms am I adding up? I'm adding up 10. I'm going from 1 to 10. My first term, if I plug in 1, 18 minus 2 gives me 16. My last term, if I plug in 10, 18 minus 20 is negative 2. So then I go to my formula, 10 divided by 2, my first term plus my last term. So 5 times 14, and my sum is 70. Now these ones look literally the same. The one difference is this one starts at 1, this one starts at 3. There's your difference there. And so our number of terms that we're adding up is going to be different. So my number of terms, if I'm going from 1 to 10, I have 10 terms. But if I get rid of number 1 and 2, get rid of 2 terms, I subtract 2 from 10 and get 8. Then I plug in my first term, which is 3. My first term is 18 minus 6, is 12. My last term is still the 10th one, so the same thing here, 2, negative 2. Then I go to my formula. 8 divided by 2, 12 plus negative 2. So 4 times 10, my sum is 40. Sum is 40. Okay, same thing you're doing here. It's the same concept, find the sum, but it's given to me like this. So I have my first term, A1 is 5. And I need my number of terms that I'm adding up, and my last term is 150. So I have my first term and my last term, but I need to find how many terms this is. How many is in that dot, 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 from 5 to 150. So if I go back to my formula, an equals a1 plus n minus 1 times my common difference, I can fill stuff in. My last term is 150 equals my first term plus n minus 1 times my common difference. What am I adding each time? I'm adding 5. So then if I go to solve, 150 equals 5 plus 5n minus 5. These go away. So 150 equals 5n. So my number of terms, my 150th term is 30. So now I have all this information. I can use that sum formula. 30 over 2, 5 plus 150. And if I do that in my calculator, I get 2325. Last one, or not last one, second to last one. I have my terms here, so I have my first term is 3, I have my last term is 143, and I need my number of terms. So I go to my formula. My last term equals my first term plus n minus 1 times my common difference. What am I adding each time? 7. So then I do 143 equals 3 plus 7n minus 7. 143 equals 7n minus 4 if I simplify that side. So now if I add 4 over, 147 equals 7n, and divide by 7, I get my n, which is 21. So now I go to my sum formula, 21 over 2, 3 plus 143. Plug that in. 10.5 times 146, and I get 1533. Okay. Last one. I know these are long. Last one is a word problem. So it says, in a lecture hall, the first row has 12 seats, and each additional row has 3 more seats. There are 22 rows of seats. How many seats are in the lecture hall? So this is a sum problem. I want to see how many seats are in the lecture hall total. So for sum, I need my number of terms. My first term and my last term. My number of terms. How many rows am I adding up? I'm adding up 22 rows. My first row has 12 seats, but I don't know my last row. To get my last row, I can use that formula again. AN equals A1 plus N minus 1 times my common difference. Let's see, I have do I have AN? No, that's what I'm looking for. So equals my first term, 12, plus, I want to find my 22nd row, 22 minus 1 times my common difference. I'm adding 3 seats per row. So then if I do that, 21 times 3 plus 12, I find out there's 75 seats in the last row. So now that I have the seats in the last row, I can go to my sum formula. 22 divided by 2, 12 plus 75, 12 plus 75 times by 11. My sum is 957 seats.